Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
yes, goal,
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
Worried about letting someone else pick out the perfect avocado for your perfect impress them on the third date guacamole? Well, good thing Instacart shoppers are as picky as you are. They find ripe avocados like it's their guac on the line. They are milk expiration date detectives. They bag eggs like the 12 precious pieces of cargo they are. So let Instacart shoppers overthink your groceries so that you can overthink what you'll wear on that third date. Download the Instacart app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
Have you ever covered a carpet stain with a rug? Ignored a leaky faucet? Pretended your half-painted living room is supposed to look that way? Well, you're not alone. We've all got unfinished home projects. Whether it's a door that sticks, or a disorganized closet, or an AC unit that only works half the time. It all matters. You just haven't taken care of it yet. But there's an easier way. Just download the Thumbtack app. You can search for what you need done and find tons of highly rated pros right in your neighborhood. Check prices, reviews, and book a pro right on the spot. Plus, you'll know what to tackle next, because Thumbtack is the app that shows you what to do, who to hire, and when. Pull out your phone and in just a few taps, say goodbye to all those unfinished home projects and say hello to caring for your home the easier way. Download Thumbtack and start a project today.
Here's CJ Moore. CJ, you ain't no Todd Rundgren, but welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. We appreciate you coming on. We're trying to keep up with the transfer portal as best we can, which means pretty poorly. You're a college basketball writer for The Athletic. What do you make of it? We've got, by my count, looking at verbalcommits.com, 1,772 who are either in or have been in the transfer portal. What's a general thought you have?
Well, my job right now is basically living in the portal. That's all I do since the season's been over, is just see who goes in and trying to keep up daily of writing, scouting reports on guys that we think are worth ranking. And it's, to be honest with you, it's impossible to keep up, and it's got to be hard for coaches to try to make quick decisions on guys, on is this a guy we should go after or not. I think the NCAA really put itself in a bind this year. Well, I don't know that it necessarily had a choice, but, last year they came out really strong against, hey, okay, your first-time transfer, you can be eligible right away. But if you're a second-time transfer, we're putting our foot in the ground. We're not going to give waivers out like candy anymore. Like, these guys are going to have to sit, and they actually made them sit. And then lawyers got involved, and if you notice, like about a couple month and a half or so into the season, all these kids who were sitting suddenly were playing. And now, there's going to be legislation coming out that basically says, hey, anybody can transfer at any moment and play right away as far, play the next year. So I think that's going to make it maybe even crazier, just because we did have, there was at least the fear last year of the second time guys couldn't play. I think we need to probably get to the point where these guys are professionals and they have contracts, and if they leave, if they break their contract, then maybe they don't get paid or something like that. I think that's really the only way forward to actually have it so it's not as wild as we have it right now.
So I wanted to ask you about KU and their efforts in the transfer portal. Last year it looked like they were going to have a lot of depth. Then they lost a recruit. Then they lost Arterio Morris. And then Nick Timberlake really didn't shape up to what they hoped and expected he would be. Does this look like a better crop that could actually kind of provide that depth for KU?
Yeah, I think they're taking a lot of swings, and I think that if you look at them on paper right now, they're probably about as deep as anybody in the country. We know Bill Self isn't going to play all these dudes, and it wouldn't be surprising if a year from now we're seeing some of these players that they have on their roster now transfer out just because there's only so much playing time to go around. But I think when you looked at KU's team last year, the concerns were shooting and depth. And that's exactly what they've done in the portal is they've went out and gotten guys who can make shots and they've added to their perimeter depth. And, they've got backups and starters at every position. So on paper, at least the roster looks better. We'll kind of see how these guys all fit together. It's hard. It's so hard to say at this point until you really see them out there on the court.
CJ Moore, our guest, senior college basketball writer for The Athletic. You mentioned something interesting there because I'm an old guy, and I remember when building team chemistry was a big deal, and coaches considered it a big deal. I'm not sure if it's a big deal anymore because you're kind of year to year. You just said that there could be some of these guys that are going to KU that end up leaving because their playing time isn't what they thought it might be. How do you go about this fine art of trying to put together a very good team, but also trying to make this team cohesive?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I think some coaches are better at it than others, but I think that makes the summertime really, really important in getting these guys that you do get in the portal on campus and trying to build some chemistry because I do still think that roster continuity and like having guys, a good core coming back is helpful and can kind of speed along that process. But we've also seen teams like Kansas State, in Jerome Tang's first year where that was a completely new team except for, a couple, I think he had like 2 holdovers from the Bruce Weber era and they made an Elite Eight. So it's possible to do that. But I still think most of the best teams we see in college basketball have at least 3, 4, 5 solid guys coming back. Like you look at Connecticut this past year, their starting lineup was 3 guys who had already been there and then 1 experienced transfer who really, really fit for what they were needing and turned out to be like, a great team first guy in Cam Spencer and then a really, a one and done lottery pick who was extremely talented. So like that was a really good mix. And I still think having, a decent core of guys returning and Kansas kind of has that. And let's say Hunter Dickinson comes back, KJ Adams, DeJuan Harris, some of the younger guys that didn't play a ton, but are looking to return. They've got a decent amount of that, but it's so hard to say until they get on the floor because we used to watch these things kind of marinate and turn it into something, and now it's just you throwing them in the microwave and hoping it'll work.
I'm trying to ask this question where it doesn't seem just too basic, but it's almost like, why do guys commit to, you have to play somewhere as a freshman, but it just seems like everyone is taking it year by year. You don't even really know what it is. I guess it's got to be money that would make someone stay. Duke now is having everyone transfer, and I realize part of that is they have a really good recruiting class come in, but it's just there's no immunity to this anywhere.
Yeah, I think if I was a really good kid coming into college basketball right now as a freshman, honestly the smartest move for you for your financial future, it's not to take the money now. It's to probably go to a mid-major, really put up great numbers, go to somewhere where you can really succeed, win, and then all of a sudden you're going to be, there's schools are going to be coming after you for big bucks. So no matter, if these. I think it's what the portal has done and what the COVID year has done has made it really, really hard on young guys. Like you're having, Duke guys there are 2 Duke players that were either 5 stars or borderline 5 stars, and they barely played this year, and they're going in the portal because they see what's coming too, and don't think they can play next year. So it's just kind of wild. It's very rare these days. You look last year, like how many impact freshmen were there in college basketball at the high major level? Not a ton. And I think that's what the COVID year has done. It's made it even harder for the young guys.
Talking with CJ Moore, you're significantly younger than me, so I have a little bit of a negative view on these changes because it's just too much
Yeah.
all at once. I like to ease into things. What do you think fans as a whole think about all this? And almost half the players in Division I college basketball in the portal this year, the NIL, which has been really pretty vague in how it's going to be handled. What do you think the average college basketball fan thinks? They just want their team to be good, and that's it? That's the bottom line?
I think there's, it's probably half and half. I think there's some that feel that way, like, oh, we like it because, hey, our team can be really good really quickly. The free agency aspect of it is fascinating. Like, you look at the NBA, and I think more people probably read about the NBA during free agency season than they actually do about the games during the season. So it's given college basketball a little bit of that. But I think there are a lot of people like you. I probably am. I lean in your direction, but I think there's a healthiness to this that we could maybe get to at some point if there are contracts and such like that. But I do miss kind of the days of watching these teams kind of, a group of players kind of grow up together and become really, really good players in their junior and senior year. And I still think that's possible. There are places that are still trying to do it that way. Shaka Smart at Marquette, he stays out of the portal and tries to really just develop guys on his own. If Houston is kind of starting to go to that model where maybe they'll just take one or two guys out of the portal and try to develop their own guys, I was about to say Wichita State. I was trying to think of one other. Purdue is kind of like that, where they mostly just develop their own guys and maybe take one guy out of the portal. So I do think there are programs still trying to do that, but I'm kind of with you. I miss the days of. To me, like the heyday of college basketball was like the 90s when guys stayed in school and we got to see really, really good players in college basketball, and there were very, very few transfers. Like Rex Walters was a rarity back then.
I do think Paul Mills is trying to do that here at Wichita State. Maybe not work as much in the portal and try to create an atmosphere that keeps players, but we'll see.
That's kind of where I was going. Just about, I'll use proximity as an example, but, what should be the timeline for teams trying to fill out their roster? So KU's kind of done that. I know they're probably still looking. Kansas State has gotten a couple guys, and then Wichita State has replaced their best player with a guy who might be as good, maybe, if things go really well. So when should fans get nervous that things aren't moving?
Well, I would say, I think most of the good players have committed at this point. I'd say, if you look at our rankings, I would say 70% of guys maybe have committed by this point. So there are still guys out there that are good, and there are going to be some under the radar guys that maybe, the high majors pick over, and you can maybe get some quality guys that way, down the road. But I'd say, if your roster isn't complete by mid-May, you're probably having to get really, really creative after that.
All right, a couple more questions for you, CJ. First, I want you to address the Memphis situation because Colby Rogers, Wichita State's leading scorer, has transferred there. So did Tulsa's leading scorer, freshman P.J. Haggerty. I'm so fascinated by the whole Penny thing at Memphis. And then secondly, my second part is the women's game got so much attention this year. Is there anything the men could learn from that?
Try to get their own Caitlin Clark, I guess, would be the answer. I mean, I think not to downplay her significance or I think the women's game has maybe done well to grow with even without Caitlin, but I think she was a huge part of that. But no, the Penny thing in Memphis is fascinating, but it kind of failed last year. Like he did a very similar roster building approach a year ago, and if you look back, they were really successful early on and got off to a really good start, and then kind of had some chemistry issues, and I'm sure some egos came into play, and they had a really bad middle, and then didn't end up making the NCAA tournament. So he's basically just going at it and I'm just going to accumulate as much talent as I possibly can and hope that it works. And we'll see. But it hasn't so far worked at a really, really high level.
All right, fascinating stuff, always interesting. Boy, this is a busy time of the year for college basketball writers like yourself. We appreciate you coming on our show, CJ.
All right, thanks for giving me a little break from the portal to talk about the portal.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.
See
CJ
ya.
Moore, college basketball senior reporter for The Athletic.
Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
Yes, goal!
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
It's a great day to venture out in a spacious and capable Toyota SUV. Like the new RAV4. With available all-wheel drive, it can go just about anywhere. And with plenty of passenger and cargo space, you'll go from morning carpool to weekend road trip without missing a beat. Plus, with available features like wireless charging and a touchscreen interface, your Toyota RAV4 will keep you connected no matter where you're going. Or check out a spacious Highlander. With seating for up to 8, it's a hub for family adventure. You'll drive in comfort and style with available heated and ventilated seats and all the latest tech. And with available hybrid models, your new Highlander can save you tons on gas. Right now, your local Toyota dealer has more vehicles in stock and is making delivery on new vehicles almost every day. So don't wait. Buy a RAV4 or Highlander today. Visit buyatoyota.com for deals and more. Toyota, let's go places.
T-Mobile has invested billions to light up America's largest 5G network, from big cities to small towns, including right here in yours. And great coverage is just the beginning. Right now, families and small businesses can save up to 20% versus AT&T and Verizon when they switch. Visit your local T-Mobile store today.
Plan savings with 3 lines of T-Mobile Essentials versus comparable available plans. Plan features and taxes and fees may vary.